I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And as I've told you many times, almost every night, I'm a former prosecutor. That's the way I see the world. But it's also one of the things I draw upon when I analyze the cases and the stories, investigations, and trials that we cover here on Court TV. And one problem that prosecutors often have is when we, right, as the former prosecutor, try a case, a lot of the witnesses who have information that's going to help me prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt are not the pillars of the community, okay? It's not like you necessarily get to pick who your witnesses are, who were at the scene of a murder, or who helped the suspect get rid of the body, or who provided the murder weapon, all of that stuff. What happens in many cases is that my witnesses as a prosecutor aren't associated with me personally, they're associated with the defendant. And as we know, the defendant is accused of being a criminal. And that's a problem that we have case after case, because what the defendant's attorney will do is attack my witnesses like I picked them, like they're my friends, or like I hired them or something. No, these are all his friends and his associates and people that he got involved with. And oftentimes you got to remind the jury of that, because the witnesses involved in murder cases, as I said, they're not the pillars of the community. These are people who have been associating with the person I believe is a criminal. Case in point, Tara Grinstead disappeared 2005. Her body's never been found. This is going to be a murder trial against a man named Ryan Duke. But in the middle of all this is his former friend, Beau Duke, who has all the information. But Beau Duke isn't a great guy. Trust me, he's not a good guy. But he's the one that Ryan Duke was associating with, and he's the one that the prosecution is going to rely upon, and it could be a problem in trying to prove this case. For those of you not familiar with the disappearance of Tara Grinstead, Chanley Painter has more for us tonight.
High school teacher Tara Faye Grinstead vanished from her Georgia home in October of 2005.
The scene in Tara's house was ambiguous to us. We did not know if a struggle had occurred there or not.
The popular educator, also a former beauty pageant contestant, lived alone in the town of Osceola, about 200 miles south of Atlanta. Her disappearance alarmed friends and baffled investigators.
We needed more information because we had a situation in which many people had been in the residence that day, and also several persons had been in the residence before law enforcement arrived.
The search for clues into Tara Grinstead's whereabouts would last for more than a decade. A billboard with her photo and tip line number loomed for years in the area, along with hopes she would be found. Hundreds of people were interviewed, but leads dried up and the case went cold.
You're convinced you will find her?
I am convinced we will, one way or the other.
Then in February 2017, more than 10 years after the 30-year-old disappeared, police arrested Ryan Duke and charged him with burglary, aggravated assault, murder, and concealment of a body. Not long after Ryan's arrest, police brought charges against his friend, Beau Duke. The two were former students at the high school where Grinstead taught. They were part of the graduating class of 2002. Their names were similar but spelled differently. It was more than their names that bonded them together. Ryan and Beau shared a secret, and Beau kept that secret for years until he told it to Ryan's brother at a party.
He said that he knew who had killed Tara Grinstead, and I said, who? And he said, your brother.
That is Stephen Duke, Ryan's brother, testifying at the trial of Beau Duke in 2019.
And I asked him, kind of shocked, what do you mean? And he said, your brother killed her. I said, are you serious? He said, no, I'm just playing. Don't tell anybody.
But Beau wasn't joking when he confessed to investigators that Ryan allegedly told him he broke into Grinstead's home to rob her for drug money, but ended up strangling her. Grinstead's body has never been recovered, but Beau's confession helped crack the case. Beau said he helped Ryan move Grinstead's body from a large pecan orchard where Duke had dumped the body to a nearby pine grove. Beau then assisted Ryan in burning the body. Beau was convicted for his role in the crime. The jury found him guilty of concealing Grinstead's death and lying to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. He was sentenced to serve 25 years in prison. It's not clear if he will turn state's evidence against his friend Ryan when he's tried for Grinstead's murder. Ryan has pled not guilty and maintains his innocence.
So there you see the problem, right? Beau Dukes would be a great witness for the prosecution, but a really bad witness for the prosecution. What's his role going to be in the case against Ryan Duke? Well, there's a huge hearing. It's going to be on Court TV this week. And guess who's there? Court TV legal correspondent Julia Janae is in Ocilla, Georgia tonight. Julia, great to see you. Beau Dukes is going to testify at this hearing. What's going on? Who's calling him? What's the issue? And is this all about whether or not he's going to testify at the trial?
Vinny, what we know is that he is being transferred from a state prison that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from here to be here and actually take the witness stand. But we don't know which side is going to call him. We know that there are several motions that relate to not only his statements to police, but the testimony that he may give, what the defense may or may not cross-examine him with, several things that could come up. But we will be hearing from someone that we know the state is looking to call during the trial as one of their key witnesses. Now, they're not just going to be relying, though, on what Beau Duke says. Once they get in front of the jury, they will be trying to corroborate what he says on the stand with other people that he told things to throughout this many-year span of them not knowing what happened to Tara Grinstead, in this case essentially being cold. One of those, his ex-girlfriend, Brooke Sheridan, who had this to say during his 2019 trial.
So what occurs on January 10th of 2017 that you learned that your boyfriend, in fact, had helped dispose of her body?
I don't recall the exact events that led up to it,
Yes, ma'am.
but I do know that he had a severe panic attack, and he, after I got him calm, I told him that he needed to tell me what was going on, and he proceeded to tell me what had happened.
Okay. What did he tell you?
He told me about that his roommate had gone into her home, had strangled her, and that he had put her body on, or he had taken his truck and put her body on the Hudson property in Fitzgerald, and that he helped to destroy the body.
Who was it that you were told killed and strangled Tara Grinstead?
Ryan Duke.
Who was it that you were told actually put her body on Hudson Property Farms?
Ryan Duke.
Who was it that you were told helped burn the body?
Beau Dukes.
Okay. And when we say helped burn the body, was there more than one person other than Mr. Beau Dukes? Was anyone else involved with burning Tara Grinstead's body?
Ryan Duke.
Now we're hearing their Hudson Pecan Farm. Here's a map that really puts into perspective how close a lot of these scenes are that authorities believe what happened to Tara Grinstead. We went by her house today, which is just 2 minutes away from this courthouse, just around the corner, Vinny. And when you look at the county that this is in, Irwin County, there's also a nearby county, Ben Hill County, where they believe that her body was then taken, that pecan grove that was owned by the family of Beau Dukes. It's only about a mile and a half away from here. They've never found her body. They did a search of that location. We only know the location of where the office is. We don't know how large that grove is or where Dukes may indicate that she was buried or where he helped conceal the body, but that is what we anticipate his testimony will be once the state calls him in front of this jury.
How small of a town is it down there? Give us an idea. You're on the streets of Ocilla today.
Pretty small town, Vinny. 3,000 people is the population. We're about 30 minutes away from the next largest town where the hotels and restaurants would be. So that's Tifton, Georgia. That's somewhere where Tara Grinstead was doing some of her beauty pageantry, where she ran and went on to go for Miss Georgia in this area. But Ocilla, Georgia, small town. A lot of people know everybody, and this case was one that really shook them to their core, and they still talk about it to this day.
And what else can we expect from the hearing this week here on Court TV?
Long laundry list for the judge for this hearing. One of those being a Jackson Deno hearing that the defense wants. They want to challenge the validity of the confession by Ryan Duke to police, to the GBI. They say it was coerced, and they want that hearing to determine that, or for the judge to determine it. There's also a request for a Harper hearing that's going to deal with the DNA evidence in this case that was not linked to this defendant until much more recently. This was a 2005 disappearance of Tara Grinstead. They tested it then, didn't find certain evidence, but this true allele DNA testing system is something that is under scrutiny, will be talked about tomorrow. The motion to exclude expert witnesses, the defense, or rather the state says the defense wants to call witnesses who will talk about false testimony theory, going back to a possible coerced statement that they say was made to police. There's also a motion to exclude character evidence of Beau Dukes by the state, petition for a witness from out of state by the defense, and a motion to reveal all deals. The defense wants to know what the state has offered Beau Dukes in exchange for his testimony. He doesn't have any charges pending here in Irwin County, but he does have some pending ones in some other counties, and they want to know on the record if he has been given immunity for his testimony.
Because he already went to trial and was found guilty by a jury, right, on the charges related to all this. Wow, a lot at stake this week down there in Ocilla. Julie Janae there for all of it. Thank you so much, Julia. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, criminal defense attorney, civil rights attorney, Casey Early. In Covington, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Brian Frost is with us. And in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Good evening to everyone. Brian, I'm going to start with you. You're in Georgia. This is Ocilla, Georgia. We got Duke versus Dukes. You know, off the top, I said the big problem for a prosecution is who the witnesses are. What do you think is going to happen with Beau Dukes? I mean, he was already convicted for concealing the body at trial by a jury. Do they give him a deal on some other unrelated charges to testify here? How does all this going to work? What do you think how it's going to play out? I think his signal froze because Brian loves to talk. Casey, let me go to you. How do you think this is going to play out? Oh, is he back? Can you hear me? Brian? Nope. He's not. He's definitely not getting us.
I'll tell you.
I tried. Casey, so how do you think this is going to play out with Beau Dukes?
Well, it's not unusual that a defense witness, prosecution witness would grant an immunity in exchange for their testimony. So that's really not of concern. The prosecutor should stick to the jury instructions, and typically with the jury instructions.
But Casey, here's the problem. He didn't get a deal. He went to trial, and the jury found him guilty of concealing Tara Grinstead's body.
Not the deal with the current conviction, but any of his pending cases. That's not a big deal. The question would be, does his testimony match with the other testimony? We know that this is a circumstantial case. We don't have the body. But is his testimony consistent with all the evidence that the prosecution does have? Focus on that information. Is he straightforward in his testimony? Although he has been convicted, is there any bias in his testimony? So, as you said earlier, you can't pick your witnesses in this case, but does his testimony shed light and will help the state to bear its burden beyond a reasonable doubt? And I said it would.
Al, this is Beau Duke's not a great guy based upon charges and history. I mean, really not a great guy. How do you think this plays out? And what do you think is going on with this pretrial hearing, having him come in and testify ahead of time, trying to get to the bottom of I guess, whatever deal he may or may not have here?
Well, obviously, Vin, this Dukes would be a hazard for the prosecution, okay? Under the circumstances, it's always a problem to put somebody on like that. But he had a trial. He got up there. He was found guilty. He's got nothing to gain, and he's really got nothing to lose. What is the best they could possibly do for him? Maybe put him in a better prison or something along those lines? And if the story is corroborated as to what he has put forth with regards to his evidence, where's his incentive to lie? Where's his incentive to talk to his girlfriend about this, to talk to
the incentive to lie is probably going to be in the form of the defense pointing the finger at Beau Dukes as being the real killer and Ryan just being the guy who helped conceal it. I mean, they're going to try to flip this whole thing around.
And that would be an excellent way of doing it, is to get Duke versus Duke, or Dukes versus Duke. But I don't think that they're going to see that. The prosecution has already put a trial on this. If they thought by any stretch of the imagination they had a full case against Dukes, okay, they would have got it. And let's look, the guy got 25 years. I mean, he certainly got hit pretty hard with regards to what he ultimately was convicted of. So I don't think I mean, the defense is going to have to do whatever they can, throw something against the wall to see if it sticks. But, I don't think that Mr. Duke is going to be getting any benefit from the Dukes, despite the hazard.
I think we've got Brian Frost back. Join us in Covington, Georgia. Brian, great to see you. Let me ask you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
A jury down in Irwin County, down in that small town of Osceola, what are they going to think about prosecutors using the testimony of somebody like Beau Dukes? Are they going to be skeptical? Are they going to accept it?
Well, Vinny, as it turns out, I actually clerked right out of law school in that area in the cordial circuit. This is a horrifying crime that occurred. This is not something that the folks down there are used to. And I think that Ryan Dukes he's going to have a tough time. I don't think they care where the truth comes from, as long as they get it. And this Beau Dukes, in addition to Ryan Dukes, spontaneously, supposedly confessing, getting 25 years for covering this up and helping to dispose of the body. I think Ryan Dukes is in for a lot worse.
All right, I just have to correct one thing, Brian. It's Ryan Duke and Beau Duke.
I'm sorry.
No,
yes,
but it's
I
crazy,
apologize.
right? It's unbelievable. They graduate class of 2002, right next to each other in the yearbook. All right.